Senator Cameron.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. On the 5th of March, I received correspondence from a New South Wales constituent, Mr Ian McPherson. This correspondence was in relation to the tragic death of his son, Tim McPherson. Tim was needlessly killed in a workplace incident at the Barangaroo ferry hub site. I rang Mr McPherson to offer my condolences to him and his family and was shocked at the circumstances of his son's death. On Wednesday afternoon, on the 1st of March 2017, the transfer of a steel beam by the construction barge Meave Ann at the Barangaroo ferry hub went horribly wrong. An unsecured steel beam was stuck by the beam that was being lifted. The unsecured beam came crashing down onto the deck of the barge. For some reason, as yet unknown, at least 2 workers were on the deck of the barge under the lift. One of them was a 32-year-old rigger dogman, Tim McPherson. Tim was crushed under the beam and was killed immediately. Tim had his whole life ahead of him. He was married to Ashley, with a young son, Jack, and Ashley is pregnant with their second child. Tim and Ashley had just purchased their new home in Windella, near Maitland in New South Wales. A young, hard-working family man struck down in the prime of his life in yet another construction fatality. A lovely young family has been torn apart as a result of a construction industry death that was entirely avoidable. This tragedy should never have happened. The main contractor for the ferry hub, McConnell Dowell, the barge contractor, Brady Marine and Civil, and the labour hire agency who employed Tim, Constructive Workforce, all have questions to answer. New South Wales Maritime has questions to answer. The safety regulator, AMSA, that is the Australian Maritime Safety Authority, has questions to answer. There are so many questions in relation to this shocking incident that I believe the New South Wales coroner should conduct an inquest under the provisions in Section 27, and that is, and I quote, if it appears to the coroner concerned that the manner and cause of the person's death have not been sufficiently disclosed. Among the many issues and questions that need to be disclosed are: why did McDonnell Dowell contract Brady Marine and Civil to carry out work on the ferry hub site when reputable barge operators could provide barges that complied with AMSA regulations? What steps were taken to ensure that the barge Meave Ann was fit to sail from Brisbane to Sydney? What steps did McConnell Dowell take to ensure that the Meave Ann, the barge used on the Barangaroo site, was fit for purpose? Why were Brady Marine and Civil allowed to operate from February 2016 to the 30th of May 2016 with a barge that did not comply with AMSA safety regulations? What inspections were undertaken when the barge arrived from Brisbane and between the periods of February 2016 to the 30th of May 2016? Why did it take almost 4 months to issue the barge operator with a prohibition notice from the Australian Maritime Safety Authority? Why did the New South Wales Maritime, operating as the delegate of AMSA, issue a temporary operating exemption on Friday the 8th of June 2016? What inspections were undertaken prior to issuing the temporary operating exemption? Why did AMSA issue a specific exemption to Brady Marine for certain requirements in the Act on the 6th of October 2016? What inspections did AMSA carry out in granting this exemption? What inspections were undertaken by New South Wales Maritime or AMSA prior to the issue of a certificate of survey and operation on October 21st, 2016? What steps has AMSA taken to ensure that sufficient resources are in place within AMSA and its delegated agencies to ensure safety regulations are being complied with? Why did McConnell Dowell deny the Maritime Union of Australia right of entry to the site and the barge under the New South Wales Workplace Health and Safety legislation in November 2016? AMSA, New South Wales Maritime and these companies should answer these questions now. I had a meeting with Paul Garrett from the MUA and Brian Parker of the CFMEU, who provided photographs of the barge following the death of Tim McPherson. Problems identified with the barge included rusted and insecure and non-existent safety and handrails, fire extinguishers and pumps not correctly stored or secured, poor condition of lifebuoys. You couldn't get access to them to get them out because they were tethered wrongly, obstructed walkways, general untidiness of the barge deck with trip hazards, shipping containers not properly secured, the poor general condition of the barge. Now, I have had decades of experience in working in and representing workers in heavy engineering around the country. The conditions of this barge beggared belief, and they are unacceptable in any construction or engineering undertaking in this country. AMSA should also advise as to what steps were taken to ensure that the 9 conditions on which AMSA granted the exemption certificate were complied with. McConnell Dowell and Brady Marine should advise of steps taken to comply with the conditions in the exemption certificate. The death of Tim also raises questions for the Minister for Transport and Infrastructure in New South Wales. The Minister should detail what precautionary steps were undertaken for Transport New South Wales to provide a safe work programme at the Barangaroo ferry hub when the barge Mevan was issued a prohibition notice and taken offline by Roads and Maritime Services on May the 30th, 2016. Now, the unions have still been unable to gain details of wages, superannuation payments and workers' compensations by the labour hire company who employed Tim. The unions are concerned to ensure that the legal obligations of the labour hire company constructive workforce have been met. Attempts to gain legitimate information from the company director, a Miss Millie Booth, have been unsuccessful. Miss Booth, part of the Liberal Dominello family and a prominent campaign manager for the Liberal Party in New South Wales, registered constructive workforce on July 1, 2014. This was 8 weeks prior to her previous company, Solutions People Group Proprietary Limited, going into liquidation on the 15th of September 2014. Questions have to be asked in relation to the legitimate operation of this company and whether it's simply a Phoenix company designed to avoid Miss Booth's legal obligations arising from the liquidation of Solution People Group Proprietary Limited. Millie Booth, née Dominello, must immediately engage with Tim's union and provide proof that she has met all her legal obligations to Tim and any other labour hire worker she is engaging on this and other sites. Tim's father advised me he was extremely grateful for the support of the CFMEU and MUA. He was advised he was concerned at the politicisation of his son's death by the Minister for Employment, Michaelia Cash. On behalf of Labour, I wish to express our condolences to Ashley, Jack, Kay, Ian and Christina, a family who will never be the same again, a family who have had a tragic loss that was entirely unavoidable. There are too many construction deaths in this country.
Thank you, Senator Cameron.